Nice job this season. You've been performing well, and that's putting us in a strong negotiating position contract-wise. Plus, my 10%'s getting more valuable. So enjoy your break, and keep up the good work next year.
What's up guys, Phantom here, back with episode 44 of my F1 2019 career mode, as we are coming off our first championship with Haas, as Alfa Romeo has contacted us about racing the second car, as Giovinazzi has basically underperformed there and basically gotten beaten handily by his teammate Raikkonen. Is there a number of drivers changes on the grid as we go to Alfa Romeo, Giovinazzi goes to Renault, Hülkenberg goes to Williams, Albon is out of a seat, Weber has taken our space at Haas, Leclerc has gone into McLaren, so that is a very interesting move, and probably the most surprising of it all is that Grosjean will be returning to F1 for Ferrari, so that is Ferrari sees something in Grosjean that most people don't, as we look here as Alfa Romeo has been one of the best teams, it looks, at keeping their stuff through the regulation change, and will be third on the grid, as you see here, as they basically almost like flatlined there, as everybody almost dropped off a cliff, as Williams is now the worst team on the grid again. As you look here, they look to be really strong in the chassis and aerodynamic department, and lack a little bit in the power department, which is a little surprising once you see some of the races. But most importantly, they have one durability. We are going to have to go through some grid penalties here as we go into qualifying.
We're just about ready to kick off today's qualifying here in Melbourne. It's the Australian Grand Prix. Now then, Anthony Davidson, you're not getting any younger, but you have been involved in your fair share of qualifying sessions in an illustrious 30-year career. How do you deal with the pressure when you have that one chance to deliver a perfect lap?
It's not so much about dealing with the pressure, it's more about how you approach the risk and just how much of it are you willing to take. You're constantly balancing the car on the edge of grip from braking, cornering and traction, and over the course of a lap, it's easy to get that balance wrong, and that's why achieving the perfect lap is almost impossible. As you say, I've been doing this 30 years now, and it never gets any easier.
As we start out here in Q2 at Melbourne for the first race of the season here with our new team of Alfa Romeo, as we have changed our helmet to mostly white with some red fins at the temple of our head, as we have started our flying lap into the first corner here. It's pretty important that you don't overshoot and end up on the grass or take a lot of curbing there, because it will slow you down as we come into the final section here, as we're getting a little bit of dirty air off the Red Bull in front of us, but it should not be a problem, as we will finish P7 in the qualifying, as our teammate Raikkonen has missed Q3 with the third best car on the grid, as he is missed by almost 2/10 as we move on to Q3. As in Q3, looks like it's about to rain here, so we are a little bit out here earlier than we wanted to be, and we kind of cut ourselves off there and rode a lot of the curb there on the final corner, which is going to slow us down here for the front stretch a little bit here, as we make sure to take a lot of curb there, as you want to be as straight as you possibly can there for the turn 2 curb, as we come through the final section, as we run a little bit farther out than I wanted to, as we had to wait for the throttle there for the car, as we will be P9, as Perez is the only car that we did not beat, as Weber, who took our seat, will be on pole for the Australian Grand Prix.
They say that even a second is an eternity in Formula One, so going 4 winter months with no racing at all has seemed a very long time indeed. We're back though in Melbourne, home of the Australian Grand Prix since 1996. The Melbourne circuit is certainly one that needs to be taken seriously. Its combination of slippery surfaces and difficult corners make it a tricky track when it comes to overtakes. Drivers find it hard to pass and will need to take full advantage of those DRS zones if they want to have any hope of breaking through. Joining us today to oversee all the thrills and spills, it's Anthony Davidson. And great to see you. How are you feeling about the race today, and how are the circuit conditions from what you've seen?
Well, it's looking a bit cold out there, if I'm honest. These tyres have quite a narrow operating window in terms of the temperatures they need to extract the best grip. So with a cold track surface, it's going to be harder to keep those temperatures up, which will lead to lower grip and maybe more mistakes.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Lucas Weber lines up on pole position and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Vettel, Leclerc, Valtteri Bottas and Butler, Verstappen, Grosjean, Oldtimer and Sergio Perez, Raikkonen, Sainz, Kevin Magnussen and Kvyat, Ricciardo, Giovinazzi, Lando Norris and Lance Stroll. Russell and Nico Hülkenberg completes the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
As we sit here on the grid in P9 for the first race of the season for our new team, and the 5 lights are out and away we go. As we get an alright start, as we're going to immediately go to the inside here, try to see if we can slip down the inside. As we get hit in the back there a little bit by, I think it was Perez there, as yes, we get a warning for collision. As you see him just kind of whack me in the back, and he loses an end plate there, as we are right now battling with our former teammate Butler, as we're going to look down the inside of Bottas as he just kind of swipes us and kills all our momentum, as Butler's going to be able to go around the outside of us and then has the inside for turn 4, as we are now on lap 2, as our teammate Kimi Raikkonen is looking around the outside of us, as he's got the better run there, as he will go around our outside, so something Butler would have never have done against us. He is clearly done on his first bet, as Verstappen is being Verstappen right now, as he kind of actually backs out there a little bit, but he was really committed down our inside there. As we move on to lap 5, as Butler seems to have lost track with the group up ahead, which will make him easy target there, as we go around the outside like Raikkonen, but it looks like Butler kind of went shallow there on his angle, and then he cut right into it. So he went kind of for the apex and then kind of had not enough turn in to make the corner, as we are coming in to the pits at the end of this lap, and we almost hit the wall there, and that could have just easily ended our race. As we come into the pits, as Leclerc's right ahead of us, who's making his first stop for a new team as well, as that's probably the surprise of the changes, was Leclerc going to McLaren, as Ferrari are statistically the best team on the grid still, as he won 3 or 4 races last season, as we are coming to pass everybody else who is pitted, as Verstappen will be funneling right behind his teammate there, as now Leclerc's gotten passed by him, and Verstappen is attacking our teammate Raikkonen, as we are going to switch back on Leclerc there and get a run on Raikkonen, even Verstappen maybe, as we're going to run out of time there. As we get on the grass there, it kind of wants to turn us, as our teammate Raikkonen there, as you will see on the replay here, we will actually be 3 wide going into the corner there, as you see us get a very good run there, as I get on the grass there and it kind of shot me right into my teammate there, so that's probably not a thing you want to see in your first race, running into your teammate. As we go on later in the lap, as our former teammate Butler is out of the race with a mechanical failure here in Sector 1, as he looks like he's behind the Williams here, as on lap 11 we are attacking Grosjean, our first teammate we had, who we completely outclassed at Haas there, as he somehow got a drive for Ferrari, but he looks like he's not living up to it, as we were not able to catch Verstappen after passing Grosjean there, as Bottas had a problem with about, I think, the second last lap, as Verstappen was able to get past him. If we had another lap, we could have gotten him, but we will have to settle for P6 in our first race for Alfa Romeo.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
So another fantastic victory for Haas today. What do you think it was, Ant, that gave them the edge over the competition today?
I think a large part of the result comes down to temperament. They were able to keep their heads when everyone around them was losing theirs, and that's allowed them to get the best out of the car, to maximise the strategy, and to stay out of trouble.
Today was another great race and an even greater victory for Haas. Here they come now to step out onto the top of the podium. They'll be incredibly happy with today's result. So let's review the updated drivers' standings. Lucas Weber takes over the lead of the Drivers' Championship after that excellent result. After an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
Well, Lance Stroll would be my pick. He managed to keep a cool head today whilst pushing through the field.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. Mercedes move to the top of the table. Well, Ant, an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.